Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for another DC review, and in this DC review I'll be covering Action Comics 1064, House of Brainiac Part 1, and also The Batman First Night by Dan Jurgens. So I'll now get things organized for the first one that I'll be reviewing. So as we start in the first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? Sure enough it does, to which we do get to see the Zarnians invade Earth, and the overall total that I give it is an 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the area of the internal art, as we have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and also what's happening story-wise with the characters. So as we start to move into the beginning of the story, we are introduced to all of the cast that are going to be present in the story. Of course, we all have in the very first page, which is not being shown here, we have Brainiac sort of like coming in on his ship, hurtling towards Earth, and we end up meeting a number of members that make up the Superman family as well as the extended family. As we start to move towards the middle of the story, we end up seeing many members of the Superman family and also villains and whatever going up against what Brainiac has brought in, being the Zarnians, and reason that they're alive, we don't know yet, or how they're alive, we don't know yet. And last but not least, we end up meeting a new Zarnian, as well as seeing what Brainiac is doing in the background. For the internal art, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the story. So considering how far we are issue-wise, do we get any references to any comics that are connected to this run or maybe another run? No, we don't. Though I think for a story like this, it would actually be important to have it. And because of that, you do lose points. Next is the area of time. Is this taking place throughout the morning, noon, night, or at a specific time of day? It's not stated, so points lost once again. The locations that we get to see here are, of course, Metropolis. We see Centennial Park. The cast of characters consisting of Brainiac, Lois Lane, Connor Kent, Ophir and Ursula Ra, Keenan Kong, Kara Zor-El. Well, basically, most of the members that make up the Superman family, and also some of his rogues as well, including Lex Luthor, Silver Banshee. For the overall story rating, I give it a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move into Batman First Night. So as we start to move into Dan Jurgens' Batman First Night, Book 2, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? Sure enough it does, to which I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the area of the beginning, middle and end of the story, and also what's happening story-wise with the characters, as we have a look at the internal art. So as we have a look at the beginning of the story, we end up encountering a situation which has Batman involved, and it looks like they're trying to pull the plug on him. And in what happens with this particular story case, I have to say it's almost a pull of plug time on it, considering there's only one more issue left, or one more book left. As we start to jump towards the middle of the story, we see some of the things happening with some of the gangsters that are happening, that happen to be in Gotham, as this is sort of like set in the golden age of Batman in the DC universe. We get to see a little bit more occurring with Batman, as he goes in to save some of the civilians, as well as take on some of the villains, including the corrupt. And last but not least, towards the end, Batman goes after one of the big bads in the story. So for the internal art, they kept it consistent as the first issue, to which I give it a 7.5 out of 10. But how do things fall in regards to the area of the story? First things first, do we get anything time-wise as to when this takes place? No, we don't, where the first book did actually cover when things were happening time-wise or year-related. And I thought that was actually really good and really smart. In this one, they sort of dropped the ball in this, and they have somewhat ruined the story because of it. Next is the locations, which we have the locations of Gotham itself and also Blackgate Prison. The cast of characters consisting of Bruce Wayne Batman. We have someone by the name of Rube. We have Gordon, Johnny the Whip. And of course we had Myron Dale. For the overall story rating, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. This really... One thing I think Dan Jurgens should have really done with this issue is kept to the same format that he... or kept to the same format that he did with the first book. And with that, with holding a bit more consistency, it would have been a little bit better to understand who all of the characters are. Because you're going to have people who are going to pick up this particular book, and book one might not be on shelf. And if they have been following this from book one, they're not going to know who the characters are. And that is why it scores a 6.5 out of 10. Well, until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.